Hey there guys, gals and non-binary pals. I slept last night, so we're going to do something. Remember it hadn't arrived? It arrived, and I'll hold it the right way up this time. This is my brand new, by the way, my first ever brand new graphics card. I've never had a brand new graphics card before. All my other graphics cards have been gifts, like hand-me-downs, which is how I ended up running a 6-year-old 7800 series. So yeah, it's an 8GB Sapphire RX580. It comes pre-overclocked. It's pretty beastly. I'm not going to do an unboxing just this second. There isn't a lot in it anyway. But I'll just go over just the basics right now. Okay, so it's a 256-bit memory bus. It has 2 display ports, 2 HDMI ports, and a DVI port, which is going to be really important because I actually basically run my system off of a HDMI and a DVI port because I use an older monitor and a newer monitor at the same time. It's HDR ready. Okay. 3rd generation FinFET 14 FreeSync. I can use the Relive capture and streaming app from AMD themselves. It does have DirectX 12 optimization. It can be liquid cooled. It is Crossfire compatible, which is going to be really great because I am going to get a second one of these in the future after the Bitcoin bubble burst and they flood the market. And there isn't a whole lot else to it. It does have dual ball bearing fans, which is nice because quiet. And it has its own built-in fuse, so if there's a power surge, this will be okay. The rest of my system might fry, but this will be okay. So before we get to that, what I want to do is I'm going to do a benchmark of my current graphics card. Now I'm trying to remember exactly the model, but I think it's a 2GB 7850, HD7850. I do know it's 6 years old because the last time its BIOS is dated to 2012, and it's like really close to 2017. So I'm just calling it. It's 6 years old, and it's pretty decent, but we'll see. Anyway, back with the benchmarking. Okay, so I'm recording this with a hand cam because I don't want to bias the results. It's bias, not BIOS. So here we have I'm just running with preset. I'm using the Heaven DX11 benchmark, and because my old graphics card is not DX12 enabled. Actually, this is not quite right, so we need to change that to U. And everything else is fine. Tessellation is extreme. Anti-aliasing is as high as it goes, and full screen. So let's see what happens. So what we're actually going to do is I'm not going to run the full benchmarking because it's a 5-minute benchmarking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause on the first benchmarking screen, and we'll see what it comes up with, because I don't think it's necessarily going to need anything else. I am trying to hold this as steady as I can, so apologies if it kind of goes a bit crazy, but I just want to see what its average output is at a certain point. Okay, so try and hold this still. Okay, so we're getting like 17, 18 FPS. So let's see what happens as soon as we hit benchmark. And we're benchmarking, and we are getting 17 FPS. Now, my old graphics card, as it says, it's an AMD up here. Those are the specs on it. So, for those of you who couldn't read that, it's graphics is 1050 megahertz. The memory is 1200 megahertz. It's currently running at 64. It's currently running at 65 degrees Celsius, and its FPS is, it's okay. It's nothing spectacular, but it's okay. I mean, for oh god, that was painful. That was really painful. Oh, I didn't like that. Yeah, that's a problem. That right there, that's a problem. So 21 FPS. 26, that's not bad. But we've hit 69 degrees C. We're averaging 23 frames per second. Oh, that's bad. That's terrible. Oh. The minimum frames per second so far we've gotten has been 7. 7 frames per second, people. And my apologies, I am trying to hold this as still as I can. This is kind of crazy. 18 frames per second. 18. So the average is now 22.6. Ooh. Mind you, again, consider this is a 6-year-old graphics card, and this is the benchmarking settings on this are set as high as they can go. So this is a relatively brutal test. So I'm not displeased with this at all. 17. Ooh, 16. 15. 17, 18. That's not bad. 25. That's not terrible. 21. 21. By the way, I love the detail on the Canon in this. There's a degree of detail in that screams out to me that whoever did this is actually a history buff. 20 FPS, 71 degrees C. Holy crap. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And our minimum has now gone down to 6.9. Oh, that's, and now we've hit 56, wow, 58 frames per second maximum. So it really likes certain things. That's a steady 50. Although we're going to swing really close to an island and it's actually going to brick itself. 25, it dropped down from almost 60. 24. And we've only got 4 more tests to go, so bear with me. I think it's kind of worth going through all this, and I apologize if I'm not holding this as steady as I could, but I really don't want to bias the results on this. 24, 26, 35 frames per second. That's 32. That's respectable. There's no screen tearing, none at all. And it looks so pretty. 40, 45, 46, 48. And this is the last of them. Nice. 30 frames per second, dead solid. And these are the results. Average FPS is 24.9. Score is 627. Minimum FPS is 6.9 and maximum FPS was 58.1. And these are the full specs on my system. And yeah, I'm pretty okay with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop this part of the recording. Okay, so very quick unboxing because really there isn't a whole lot to this. Basically, as I said, you have this. I'll just hold it there. You can pause if you want. And then on this side, this is the full blurb. I don't know how legible that's going to be, but we will do our best. And then, as I said, pause if you want. As you can see, I've already opened this. There's just your manufacturer's yoke, quick installation guide, driver disc, which I'm not using. I don't care. I will download them from the website. Quick installation guide. Basically, it amounts to don't be an idiot. You must connect the graphics card to the computer's power supply. Nah, shit, man. You're not kidding me. I mean, are you for real? Are you joking me? Uninstall your current VGA card. Yep, done. Install your VGA card. Yep, done. And yeah, done. Nah, screw that. I've done it before. I've done that quite a bit. Anyway, let's do the main thing in this, which is the actual card itself. Oh, don't think there's anything underneath that. Nope, just a box. So here we have, in its lovely anti-static bag, it's a beast of a card. It's freaking... I can't even begin to describe just how heavy this is. It is seriously fracking heavy. As you can see here, we have the outputs, so 2 display ports, 2 HDMI, and 1 DVI. And I apologize for the lighting. I know it's not the best, but I have to work with what I've got right now. Okay, where's the power supply connection? That is my... here. It has a single... I don't know how visible that... there we go. It has a single 8-pin power supply, which is... Okay. So, yeah. Time to install this inside in my gaming rig. So, be right back. So, for those who haven't seen it before, this is the internals of my computer. There's my old graphics card, which I can't read. Cooler Master cooling, 6 sticks of 2 gig memory. This hard drive can support more, but I haven't installed it. I've 750LX Corsair power supply, and that's really about it. So I'm going to unsocket this and install. I'm going to unsocket this, and I'm going to install that, and we'll be right back. So just quick little trick that a lot of people who haven't worked in carpentry might not know about. Magnets. These are little floristry magnets. They're very strong, so attach them to your screwdriver back up here and you won't drop any screws. So yeah. Okay, so I tried to show this on camera a few minutes ago, but it was kind of awkward, so I'm going to cut that out of the recording and show it this way. This is my old machine, my old one, MSI. It is a RX580 2GB, and it has served me well. It has served me quite well. One of the things changes actually in more newer graphics cards that I really agree with is they cover all this up. First of all, it saves cuts, but also it reduces the chance of static shock causing damage. But this will be going into my backup hard drive, my backup computer, and yeah, it's kind of sad to see it go, but not really. So yeah, back to the benchmarking. And of course Windows decides to update when I boot my computer with my brand new graphics card inside it, because the universe fracking hates me. So yeah, although there's some weird stuff with my computer, I have to say, that I didn't expect. One of the weirder things being that it would not boot up until I plugged in my keyboard. I got screen artifacting and everything, and it kept going into the BIOS settings, you know, like, pick your BIOS, pick your default settings, over and over and over again, because my keyboard wasn't plugged in. Weird. Just frickin' weird. But then again, my machine is such a hodgepodge of various parts by various manufacturers. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'm really hoping that's a reboot. Anyway, if this doesn't do what I hope it does, I'm going to go to lunch. It finally updated. It took 20 fracking minutes, and my system is bloody fast, so yeah. And finally we're installing drivers, so I'll be right back as soon as we're into the benchmarking. Okay, just to very quickly go through, we have GTX R80 series, graphics is 1366 MHz, and memory is 2000 MHz. So let's see what this does. This is exactly the same settings. So far we're at 40 FPS. I can't remember what the equivalent was before. 42. And we topped out at 94. And our minimum has been 13. The average is 40 FPS. Almost a rock solid 60. 90, which is pretty damn good. 46, 54, no screen tearing, no nothing. Beautiful. And our average is 52.5 frames per second. Holy crap. 50, yeah, that's pretty solid. 50. It's so much smoother. It is really so much smoother. It's unbelievable how much better it is. I'm kind of shocked. This part I think was running at about 20 FPS on my previous machine, my previous graphics card. And our average is still 50 FPS. And bear in mind, this is at extreme. This was with everything cramped up all the way. 60 FPS again. It's kind of shocking, the difference. I'm really kind of stunned by that. Okay, we had a bit of a bump there, but it's still hovering around the 40, which is not bad. Hovering around the 40. And our average FPS is still around the 50 mark. It's a very little difference in the two. Oh, that is just beautiful. The main difference, because I typically run games really, apart from FPS shooters, at 30 FPS, just so I can crank everything up to max anyway. The fact that this is so stable above FPS, above 30 is fantastic, because it just means I don't have to worry about that for a good while, like hopefully for a couple of years at least. I will get a second when I'm finished. When I'm building my all AMD rig, I will probably get a second one of these and slot it in Crossfire, and that should give me a nice bump in performance as well. Yeah, the average is still hovering around 50 FPS, which is pretty impressive, really, when you get down to it. 50 FPS on this section, really stable. I mean, it's dropping down to 47, but it's not dropping below 47, which is pretty freaking awesome. This part tanked the last one completely, and it's still hovering around 45-ish. The last time I think it was about 19. So we've doubled our FPS easily. Ooh, that was a big judder. Really big judder. Seems to be certain things it just has issues with, and I wonder, is that an issue with the benchmarker? Is it an issue with my processor, or is it an issue with AMD's drivers? It's hard to tell. I am going to do some more experimentation with other benchmarking tools, but the difference in performance is stunning. I mean, I'm at 51 FPS on average, which is freaking crazy for me. I mean, obviously there are people out there who are running stuff like this at like 100, 120. And while this, I actually did some reading up on this while I was waiting for Windows to like finish updating. And actually, it's not pre-overclocked. What it comes is overclock ready. So I can pump this way, way higher. The only thing that's annoying me is there is no temperature monitoring, which is kind of weird. I wonder why that would be. But yeah, and that's the end of the benchmarking. So we more than doubled our score. We went from about 600 to 1328. Minimum FPS was 11.9, the maximum was 111.9, and the average was 52.7. And yeah, for some reason that's only reading as a 4 GB card, although it's an 8 GB card. I wonder why that is. May need to look into that, but yeah, overall pretty happy. So yeah, pretty happy with that. You'll have to excuse the change. I had to reorganize a lot of stuff. So I do wonder why it only detected as a 4 GB when it's actually an 8 GB graphics card. I need to see what that is. I think it's a driver issue. Unsurprisingly, new installation, and my computer is weird to begin with, so it's probably going to take a bit of tweaking to get that right. If there's, I will run benchmarks once I get it detecting properly, and if there's a significant difference in the benchmark scores, I'll show you in the future. I'm delighted. I'm so happy. So yeah, anyway, I am going to go to bed because I am now completely and utterly out, and as you can see from my skin, I feel awful. So have a great day, be good, and bye for now.